Hey, it's Rob. I want to show you a cone. I stole a couple of ideas and a couple of my own. So this is a Trapout cone. As far as I can tell, it's going to be reusable. It's a lot tougher than what I've done in the past. I saw somebody use something. I wasn't sure what they used. So I went through and tried to find something similar. What this is, the blue stuff, is about $5 at Lowe's. And it is just generic filter material. So if you were going to, let's say you had an old air conditioner and you couldn't find the right filter for it, or if you had you had a custom situation for your furnace and you needed a furnace filter, you can cut this thing to size. It's about 2 by 3 feet. It's this blue. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick, and it was $5 at Lowe's. And what this does is, on an uneven surface, I can screw to this to the building. It'll conform somewhat, but the bees aren't going to be able to get through that. The second thing you want is a toilet. This is technically, it's upside down. It goes inside the floor, and your toilet sits on top of it. There's a whole bunch of these. There's repair ones, there's white ones, there's ones with metal, there's ones with inserts. What you want, though, is you want the lightest one. And this is ABS instead of PVC, so it's black ABS. It was pretty light. It's about $4.95 at Lowe's. The stainless steel clamp here is right next to those guys, and I think that was like $1 or $2. And then finally, you want the hardware cloth that is the 1/8 inch. This can be really hard to find. If you go to your hardware store and ask for beekeeper cloth or beekeeper hardware cloth, they'll usually know what you're talking about. The stuff that you normally see is 1/4 inch. The bees can actually get through that. The 1/8 inch, they cannot. So the way I do this is I made the cone. I got it as small as I can. One of the interesting things is you see this entrance here. Do not make this too small. I did a Trapout a long time ago. It was one of my first ones. It was just small enough to where a drone got stuck, and that drone got his butt stuck right there. And when I went to look, it was a Trapout about 40 feet up. When I came back, this whole cone is full of dead bees, and the Trapout pretty much died out. You want this to be larger than a drone, probably about the size of your pinky at least, so that 1 or 2 bees can get through it, and so they don't get stuck. So you need them to be able to get out. The second thing is I like to tilt it down just slightly. You can barely see a tilt on this one, but I've seen guys tilt it up. Bees will tend to climb. So they'll come in, they can't get to the entrance, they'll climb, and sometimes they can find that entrance. If you tilt it down just enough, or even horizontal, but usually I try to mount them slightly tilted. This one is not as tilted as I would like. They will try to get to that hole, but they will cluster here. They'll go to the top of this, but they'll all pretty much stay here. They won't walk all the way out here. But if you do end up tilting it up like this, I have seen them walk the cone if it's too fine, and they'll come in through the end. Now lastly, what I do, as you can see here, is I wish I had some stainless wire or some galvanized wire, but I use the same wire that I use for embedding, the beekeeper embedding wire for wax. And once I make the cone, I put some tape around it, and then I kind of sew it together with a wire. And that holds it. This one's really tough. I mean, it's really held together. I can hit it. It's not gonna fall apart. The ways I used to do this is I would actually, the cone was a lot longer, and I would do these flaps, and then I would use aluminum tape to tape it to the building. This way, I feel like I can, with the rigidity of the ABS, I can just screw this to the building with one screw, and that should actually do it. I'll probably put a large washer on it just so it doesn't crack the ABS. But I think I can get by with one screw, and that way I've got that cone on there. If you had an unusual surface, I'm gonna make some more of these circles, and then you can kind of like cut them. So if your surface is uneven, you can kind of fill those in. But it's a pretty neat material. Like I said, there's plenty of that material, and the bees aren't gonna get through it. They can't chew through it, it's plastic. I will say that I have a CNC, a 3D printer, and a laser. And I was looking at the 3D printers recently, and there is a weird setup in Cura where you can take a shape, a solid shape, and tell it to only do an outline shape. So it kind of looks like a 3D pen. At the end, you end up, basically what I want to do is I want to put a cone in that stupid thing, make a separate ring that was a little bit more solid, but I want to build a cone in that to where I can just 3D print these cones. I can 3D print them at a slight angle,
and then we'll see what happens. I'm trying to learn Fusion 360. It's been a real nightmare. I'm an old dog. It's a new trick. But if I can get those done, maybe I'll start putting those out there, and that way I'll make cones for like inside corners. That happens sometimes. 45s, 22.5. I'll do them at different angles like that, and I'll probably print them out of ABS, and then I'll create a snap ring. So they're very delicate. They kind of look like this, but they're somewhat delicate. But I think that would be really cool because they're so lightweight, I could actually just tape them onto a building. This one I think is going to require a screw. Finally, before I forget, I used 2-part epoxy to glue this on here. I felt like it was going to be a hassle. Sometimes I'm trying to put these on and the bees are coming at me fast, and I just want to get it on there. So I just didn't want to have to deal with it or blocking the inside. So this is just cut out, and then 2-part epoxy is glued on, and now you've got a Trapout cone, and it's ready to go. I've used a couple of Trapout cones several times. These are brand new, so I'm going to make 1 or 2 more just so I can have them available in the truck. I think if I do a good job, I can stack them, and that way we've got them around. But those Trapout cones, I will probably do another video on how I do Trapouts later on. But I just want to put that one out there in case anybody wants to make one. Thanks.